Hi, my name is Sue, and welcome to my channel, S Creations. For this video, I'm using the masking tape from Inkadoo and the Arts Impressions stamp for holidays. I'm going to try to make a Hanukkah card out of Christmas stamps. Here I stamped the image with the Momentum black ink, and then I also did the masking, and I've cut it out. One thing I did though was I cut out all the little details, and it made it very fragile, especially around the lantern. And here you could see it wasn't lined up right, so I had to realign it. It's very thin and fragile at this point. I probably shouldn't have cut so much around the lantern. And then with the squeezed lemonade, I went in and I used the blending brush to kind of give a glow. My intention was from the lamp that it would glow around the dogs and up and over towards the right side stronger, and then the left side would be a little less than that. So I used the blending brush, and it worked pretty good for this because it wasn't too much that I needed to put on. I then switched over to the night sky, and I used the Faded Jeans, Salty Ocean, and Chipped Sapphire. I started the blending brush, and that just did not work. It became, you can see I just was pouncing it on there and it wasn't doing very well. So I switched over to my blending sponges. I seem to work much better for those. And you can see that I ended up having to put some gloves on because I do have to work tomorrow, and taking them off, switching them out, I get full of ink. So I put the gloves on to help. And it was blending much better between I started with Salty Ocean, then I went to Faded Jeans, and then I went to the Chipped Sapphire. And it blended a lot better. And then I went back with the blending brush after it got some color on it, and that worked well. So I think using both really comes in handy. I then went back to the yellow, to the lemonade, to kind of soften the blue from the yellow because I thought it was a little too stark. So kind of give it a little softer glow. So you can see I went in there, and the blending brush worked perfect for that application. After I was done there, I wanted to make some snow, and I used this embossing paste, pearlescent. I bought this years ago, and I thought I would give it a try with this new stencil that I bought from Mixables Stencils. It looks like snow, and it's a pearlescent, so I thought maybe raising it would be nice. Here I used the purple tape. I really like the purple tape for everything. It comes up easy. It works well on all the paper, and it was wider than using the painter's tape. I did have to do the top because it was lifting up, and I didn't want any to go underneath there. Here I used my knife for it, and as you can tell, I used the wrong side, so I had to stop and redo it. And once I started doing it with the right side, it was much smoother to spread on and I hadn't removed the mask, so I could go all the way down. It was a thin layer, and here you can see me removing the stencil after I did that. And this all just washed off with water. I had a paper towel off to the side and a glass of water for the knife. I did let this dry overnight. Once you can see there that I was cleaning it up. When I was removing the mask, I noticed since it is so thin, it did tear on me for the part that I thought I shouldn't have cut up around the lantern. I didn't have any tweezers, but I did find in my desk a staple, an old style staple remover, so I did grab that to remove the last lantern, and that worked. Like I said, I did let this dry overnight before I started doing it. And here's my vase I was using for the tripod, and I was showing you it is full of shells because my picture doesn't look clear. Here I'm cutting the card 4 by 5 1/4. I didn't want to have a border. It's just going to go on a cardstock on the back, the white cardstock. And I'm coloring the dogs here. It took a long time. I probably should have just done 2 colors instead of 3. 3 was a little too much. They're just too small to blend. And I noticed that on quite a bit of the coloring. So I did kind of speed this up and go through this because you don't need to watch me try to figure out 3 colors of this little guy. It just took forever. And then once he was done, I moved on to the lantern, and being that this is a Hanukkah card, you could still use a lot of the same things, the Christmas card, and I still was able to create the holiday image. I just stuck with the blue and white as much as I can. So here I went with CG4 for the rooftop of the lantern. And it kind of gives that little bit of a Christmas tree look, but that's okay, it's a holiday. And I wanted a little bit of green in there as well. And I grew up Jewish, but we always still had Christmas, and I have more Christmas stamps than I do Hanukkah stamps. So I'm always trying to adapt, and here's one of the ways that I was working on this one. So I did the TB1. I made a blue candle instead of a white candle, which is tradition for Hanukkah. And then I went in with the OR1 for the flame. I didn't want to do yellow because I had the yellow background, so I did kind of an orange from the OR1, just a little bit, and it worked. After I was done there, I went in with the IG4 just to do the base around the lantern, kind of give it the silver chrome dated look around there. CG4 is like a cool gray, and that was close enough to aluminum, which is the look I was trying to go for. And silver and blue is very common. Then I went in and I had done the dogs, and I was finishing up here with the GB5, GB10, and GB8 for the large dog. And the GB5, I was trying to make a bright stomach from him, figuring the glow of the lantern. It didn't work. I ended up mostly staying with the GB8, and mostly that's what I did. And up on the face, I tried the GB5 a couple times and ended up going with the GB8. And then to make it for the Hanukkah series, I ended up using as many blues as I can, the TB1, TB2, TB3, and TB5. The TB5 was a little too dark on a lot of areas, and you'll see I'll correct it later. But here I'm putting down TB3, and then I'm going to add the TB5 around the border. I think my TB5 has a lot of ink in it, so it was very fluid and kind of was putting too much on there, and the TB3 just wasn't blending the way that I wanted. And then for their scarves, I did the TB1 and TB2, kind of blending the two colors as much as I can. And then for there you can see that was just enough. And the TB2 was just enough to give it shadow around the dog's collars. And then for the hats, I did TB3. I was going to try to blend, but they're just too small, so the TB3 by itself worked well. Now back to the TB2. And there you see the TB3 for the hat. It's kind of like a blue-gray, but for Hanukkah, blue and white is the colors, so this kind of went well with the snow in the background, the little white dots. So I did all the hats in TB3. And then the large dog collar, I did that in TB3 as well. Here I used BT7 and CT4 for this little guy. Give him something different. Little girl, maybe a little girl. Give him a little more like a him. And then I went with the CT4 in the background to kind of bring the yellow forward from the back glow. And then the PP3 I used mostly I used that for the lips, just kind of give them a little bit of color. It's very faint, but just enough to give a little bit of pink to their singing voices. And here I took the masking that I had and I just kind of made some round shells, curves to it, and added antique linen. I didn't want yellow snow, even because there were dogs. I really didn't want yellow snow, but I wanted the glow of the yellow from above. So I used just a little tiny bit of the antique linen just to give some slopes. You can't really see it here, but you can see it on the card. And then I went underneath each of them with the IB1 to kind of show that they are in snow for each of their little paws. I tried once not doing the paws and kind of masking it off, but it didn't look right. And then for the sentiment here, I used one that was in the kit, and I used a silver that I had. It's a metallic silver ink, and it's very juicy, so when you put it down you really can't move it much. But it does say Happy Howl-idays. I did want to do Hanukkah or dreidel, but I don't have those stamps. I don't know. I have more Christmas stamps than anything, and I don't like my writing. So this just worked fine. I'll have to invest in some more Hanukkah stamps. As you can see, the pearlescent from the snow. And here I put it on a white card base, which was 5.5 by 4.25, I believe. Yeah. And here I noticed that I didn't like my blue, so I went back with BT4 and kind of blended in that 5 I just wasn't liking it very much, so I went back in and just made it a solid blue. You can still see the 5, BT5, but less of a stark line for the shadow of the book. And I did the same on that little guy's collar. I just didn't really care for that BT5. It was too much, so I kind of toned it down with the BT4. And then for the final thing, I attached it using the tape runner to the card. And there you have a Hanukkah card made out of a Christmas stamp. I hope that you enjoyed this, and anytime you have a Christmas stamp and you want to change it over to Hanukkah, you can just change the colors and makes it very versatile. And thank you for watching. If you enjoy it, please give me a thumbs up and let me know if you have any comments regarding the video. Thank you.